Good afternoon, everyone. Well, good afternoon here on the eastern seaboard of Australia, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us today. We're really glad to have you. Today is our June 2025 update, and there's been some really exciting updates that we're going to be sharing with you. By way of introduction, my name is Eugene. I'm the Business Development Manager for SuperMate here at Super Concepts. This is the second time I'm running this webinar, and I'm honored to be joined by Reese. Reese, who is our Product Design Manager up in Brizzy, I think he is. And Reese is going to be taking us through the client view updates that were released in June. At this stage, I am going to hand over to the very brilliant Reese, who's going to take us through the June client view upgrades. Over to you, Reese.
Thank you, Eugene. I'll be going through the items that we have released in the last in June, where we made it available to everyone, client view. But before I do, I just thought I'd take us through a few benefits about client view, or just give them some information in general. So for the people who haven't been to any previous webinars, the main benefits of client view is that you are providing the clients, and when I say clients, I'm talking advisors and trustees members, access to real-time data. So it's a portal where advisors, trustees, members can log in 24/7. They can see up-to-date data. So that's a very strong benefit. There's the self-serve convenience where they can generate their own reports when they want. They can look up some of the data, which I'll be showing off as part of this webinar. And it just, for me, point number 2, the self-serve convenience, that was always very helpful when I was a client manager and an accountant, where when we introduce a tough client portal, the number of queries, the number of phone calls, the number of emails that I was receiving on a daily basis did reduce. So the ability for them to self-serve, very helpful. Stronger client engagement. Once again, if you're using SuperMate's client view, the clients get used to being able to log in, upload documents, respond to queries, look at data. There's more stickiness to the client base. They get used to the process, and it's a value add that you can add to your firm. Clear end of year progress. We've added some enhancements in to make it even more clear where the fund's up to. Grab some historical data relating to the financial year. And once again, when I was a client manager, we had a very simplified version of this, but and it just helped reduce questions. People calling up, "Where's my fund at? When did it get sent to audit, etc." So clear end of year progress. We've got queries that are very simple. It's a portal where clients can log in to SuperMate's client view. All the information there. They can also look at all the queries, respond to queries, upload documents, which ties into the last one, the secure, seamless document sharing. So documents that are uploaded through client view, they are securely passed on to you guys as the accountant. It goes into the documents section. It's seamless in the fact that the clients can upload documents and then they can see them they can see what they've uploaded, but you can also see them straight away. And when I say it's secure, it's where documents are provided through client view, they go it's not like when you're emailing documents or posting documents. So obviously if documents are being posted, there is a chance, I know it's low, but there's a chance that they could go missing in the post, or you have the drama of, okay, it's just people have to go to the post office, get a big enough package to send it. Also with emailing, it's not as secure as through client view. So once it's in the SuperMate system, we're quite proud of our security at SuperMate. Gets uploaded, it can't get it intercepted. Whereas emails, obviously, there is scammers out there that can intercept emails being sent from one email box to the other. Got another slide just to highlight. I'll be going through queries. Client view is essential for queries, and queries is one of our pillars for our enterprise solution. So when you are scaling up and you have a larger client base, being able to handle a large volume of clients using queries through client view is going to help out a lot. Okay, I'm going to navigate to SuperMate client view. I'll just show you some of the changes we've made the last month. So fund overview, it looks very similar to before. You might not have noticed the main difference we've put in is the end of year status card. The end of year status card, it is now showing milestones from workflows. And how this card works is that if you have workflows set up for your site and you use workflows, you can use the milestones that are connected to the workflow. And it's on a fund by fund basis. So if a fund has a workflow, it'll show the workflow milestone. If it doesn't, it'll show just the end of year status that is in SuperMate, the non-workflow one. This one's quite handy because then you can just customize your milestones and your workflows to how your firm operates and wants to communicate where funds are up to. And that'll appear on client view. So there's a bit of customization there. The other change, I think this one's actually not released in June, but it's probably since my last webinar where I covered client view, where on the fund overview, you can switch between members. So originally it was whoever the client was that was logging in. So if it was Jack logging in, Jack would see Jack. If it was Kylie, Kylie would only see Kylie's stuff. We've introduced advisors. So we've enabled the ability to switch between the different members. Also, sometimes members want to see other members' details. With the overview, we do have the summary information about, okay, this is how much pension needs to be withdrawn overall. These are the contribution limits overall. And then here's the last contribution. Here's the last payment. A bit like when you log into, I know when I log into my super fund, I have a look on the main screen. It has the last item. And then down in some of these menu items, that's where we're going to dig down. You can see a lot more detail about what is happening. Next menu item, the fund details. We've split this out, split out the cards, and we've also added more information just to give members, trustees, advisors more detail about the fund. See here, fund details. If a bank account is flagged for direct debit and the ATO direct debit, now lists the bank account so they know where amounts will be withdrawn from. Trustee details. This one is obviously individual, but if it's corporate trustee, you'll see the different, the structure will be corporate. There'll be ACNs, some more details just to help if clients are, say, needing to track down the corporate trustee details. The paperwork, apply for LRBAs, etc. The fund contact. This one now has who the contact is from a client perspective. So Jack, he's the trustee / member that is contacted for this fund. But we also have the customer service manager on this card. So if trustees or advisors log in, they can see, okay, the person I want to chat to is Andy. I want to talk to Andy about my fund. Advisor details, if there is an advisor, you can see the details here. So once again, trustee can log in, they can see their advisor details. That's attached to the fund. An advisor assistant can log in and see which advisor within the firm is linked to the fund, see the details. And then we have a communication preference card, which currently I don't have any details on, and it's a feature that we're working on. We're expanding. Next menu item, assets. You might notice that we have included a total income and a franking credit card. In past experience, we found that trustees, not only do they love seeing how much assets they have, but how much income they've received for the year. And also franking credits. I can't tell you how many times I've picked up a phone call or an email was sent in and it was asking how much the franking credits were for the year. Obviously, people that are keen on getting a tax refund and knowing how big it is, well, type of questions I was fielding. The other item we've added to this screen, to the asset summary section, is the portfolio percentage, so that now they can see how much of the portfolio an asset contributes to. So you can see here, Commonwealth Bank, they have 14.12% in cash. We've added an income tab, and this tab basically lists out the income that is received for the year. You can see here for the 26 financial year, if they want to check what these cards are, well, what figures make up these cards, you can see here I've got an ANZ, I've got a NAB dividend. For prior years, so I have a lot more information. This income tab, I should point out, also includes not just shares and distributions. It does include bank interests. If there was a property, it include rental amounts. And it's not only does it show the franking credits, the franked amounts, the total income, also has number of distributions, which can be helpful where they might think, oh, I was expecting a lot more franking credits. I've only received, say this was one. They go, oh, I only received one of my ANZ dividends. I'll raise a query. Why do I only have one ANZ dividend recorded? It should be two. Obviously, distributions, if they have quarterly distributions, they'd be looking for 4. It's a bit curious that this bank account has 13 deposits, 12 months in a year. C13 could highlight that there might be a mistake in the accounting for this fund. The bank account screen hasn't changed. So for people who haven't seen the screen before, it's a screen which has a drop down with all the bank accounts, and the client can jump in and they can see the transactions that have happened since the start of the first open financial year. So I can see all the bank account transactions down to 1st of July 24. Found that clients have enjoyed looking at this detail because they can go, okay, well, have I actually received that dividend in cash? Yes, I have received it. They can look at, if they send payment requests through, they could see that, okay, yes, you have paid the tax, or have a look, looking for unusual transactions. So if there was a 10 grand withdrawal with that says member benefits, then they could obviously look at the transaction listing and go, hang on, why is there 10 grand being withdrawn from my super fund? Raise a question with you guys, see if as accountants you can help out the situation. Next section, contributions. there hasn't been too much change with this screen. We've added the financial year, so you can go back and review the prior financial year. We've also added a more of a warning for non-concessional contributions. So we have received feedback on how the non-concessional contributions are listed. We've changed the field labels around a bit, but we've also put this warning in. So you can see here, Jack, he did trigger the non-concessional. It was back in 2023. So we highlight that the bring forward ruling has been triggered, and it was the 2023 financial year. And that based on, it was 330, 110,000 contributed in this financial year to this fund. In a previous year, it was 240. You have a remaining amount of 90,000. So up until 30th of June 25, they could have contributed an extra 90,000. We link it to the ATO. I jump back to the 26th financial year, and you can see the bring forward rule has no longer been triggered. So we say, okay, you put in 120 grand, but just heads up, 360,000 is available if you want to use the bring forward rule. Okay. The pension screen, this one has had a major overhaul. You can see here we have a warning, but current year, 26 financial year, I haven't finished the 25 financial year accounts. So all these pension figures for the minimums, maximums, they're all going to be estimates. We've added a table to the top of the screen so you can see, well, the clients can see all the active pensions that exist for that financial year. They can grab some details of when it commenced, the purchase price, the tax-free percentage, whether there's reversionary beneficiaries. We've got the pension payment requirements summarized. So you can see here, we have 3 pensions for the 26 financial year. Their minimums add up to 85,000. There's been 5,000 withdrawn by Jack. Not much because it is the first month of the financial year. And then the required amount to be withdrawn is now 80,000. And then we have a table down the bottom here that will list all the pension payments for the financial year. Once again, it's the first month of the financial year, so I don't have many pension payments processed, but I can see on the 25th, Jack received 5,000, and it relates to the number 4 account-based pension. I can look up here and go, okay, yeah, we've withdrawn it from the lowest tax-free percentage. You can also dive in per member, and the clients can dive into it. And then prior years. With prior years, it's more of a summary of each financial year. And where I've seen clients use this is, say, for example, it's July. People want to jump in and look at what was allocated for the prior financial year that just finished, 2025. So they can jump in and go, okay, for 2025, even wrong month, June 25, I can see that Jeff had his minimum paid, Jack received more than the minimum. Could look at the tax-free percentages. There was 0 minimum for this one, and that's because I think the pension started in last few days of June. So obviously, if you start a pension in June, you don't have a minimum for that financial year, and that was a higher tax-free percentage. So I want to make sure that all the 40,000 went to the lower tax-free pension. And then I can also just look at prior financial years just to make sure that they're all allocated how I wanted them to. But saying that, there's probably not much you can do for the 23 financial year at this point, especially, well, if 23, 24 is completely unlodged. Jumping to the member screen, we've added quite a few tables, quite a few cards. The first one is the access to your benefits. We've now listed out the unrestricted, the restricted values relating to a member's accounts, and we split it out. See here, Jack has one accumulation, 2 pensions. He is 65, so obviously met a condition of release. It's all unrestricted. If I was to jump to Kylie, who is still 60, those are completely preserved. You can also see she only has an accumulation account, so there's only one record there. Jumping back to Jack, we have a tax components card where they can see the tax-free amounts for the accumulation account-based pension, etc. So they can have a look at this, make some decisions about, maybe doing a recontribution strategy, or which pension accounts to take money from, or taking lump sums out from the accumulation account. We've added a beneficiaries and insurance card where the beneficiaries that you add into SuperMate, they can see, they can make sure that it's up to date, and insurance details. Just make sure that, how much they're insured for, but they could also just do it just to make sure that the records that you have are correct. You see here for Jack's beneficiary nomination, we've got information to say that this nomination is binding and it does not expire. So obviously this one would have been completed as a binding non-lapsing nomination. If I switch over to Kylie, I can see that this one is a warning. Her she's nominated Jack as a beneficiary, which is due to expire 31st of July. So that's in 2 days. And to contact the administrator/advisor to make a new nomination. And if the nomination has expired, that obviously will no longer be a warning. It'll be more of a it would be more of a red, more urgent warning. Obviously death, and then I'll switch to Jeff, who doesn't have any beneficiaries or insurance policies recorded. So that he gets warnings to say, hey, you don't have any details. Please contact us if you want us to record the information. The last card that we've added is the personal and contact details. So this is different to the fund contact details. The fund contact details was who is written down with the administrator/advisor to contact the fund. So that was Jack. This one, I'm looking at Jeff's member screen and I can see Jeff's details. So Jeff can log in. He can go, okay, yep, you've got you don't have my TFN on file. He provides the TFN, date of birth, got the street address, postal address, mobile phone, email. So he can review this, and then if any of that is out of date or incorrect, he can provide the correct information to the administrator, have the details updated. Similar to what it looks like by Jack, except the TFN is actually on file. End of year screen. This is a completely new screen. It's one where clients can jump in and see the progress of a fund. You can see here that for the 25 financial year, I've started the work on the 28th of July. I should say this stepper only appears if a workflow has commenced for that fund. So if you haven't commenced the workflow yet, it won't, that stepper won't be there. The date underneath is when that milestone is hit. So I'm looking at this. I started the workflow on the 28th of July. I haven't completed the preparation, so there's no tick and there's no date. And obviously, if I haven't finished preparation, I haven't completed any of the other milestones. It's got the end of year status, the same as the tile on the fund overview screen. It's got a tax refund that gets calculated each night when SuperMate runs the earning rates. It'll also calculate what the tax refund should be for that financial year. Dates can be seen, so the client can see that this fund is due on, I put the wrong due date in, 15th of July 25. That should be, 15th of May. Should say 15th of May 2026. And there's no documents available. Whereas if I move to the 24 financial year, you can see that this is the tax refund. It is completed, so that's definitely what the tax refund is. It was due on the 15th of May, but I didn't get the audit completed till July 25, and I've lodged it on the 25th of July. So it's good for record keeping to see where clients go, hey, I wonder when my fund's going to get done, or maybe I should look at last year, see when it was completed last year. Should give me a bearing. But it also will give confirmation that, hey, the audit is actually completed and it actually has been lodged. So that lodge date won't appear. In the documents section, they can download the documents that relate to the financial year. So the financial annual return, that'll be the reports that get generated as part of the close that gets sent off for the client to review. The signed financials, once they sign it and return it, if you upload it to the documents section in SuperMate to say these are the signed financials for this financial year, a download button will appear, so they'll be able to download their signed financials if they ever need it. And then the audit report. So once again, if you save the audit report into this documents section, they can download the audit report if they like. Obviously, if you have a ASF integration, when ASF finishes the audit, they actually send the audit report through and then it'll automatically appear here. And you can see here in with the workflow steps, I have been a bit slack. I did start this one 21st of February 24, but I didn't actually complete the preparation till 29th of July. You can see the history there, which can provide guidelines for the client to know, okay, well, typically last year they completed preparation, and with this one, same day audit. So I might expect now that the preparation is finished that it's an easy fund audit. So I should have a quick turnaround. We also have the completed badges against the financial year. So clients can log in and they can easily see which funds have been completed without having to open each tab to look at the details. The query screen, there's probably a couple of changes we've made here. The first one, I am going to navigate to SuperMate for the accounting view to show off a couple of system defaults that we've added. So this is SuperMate. I'm in the settings system defaults section and I've searched query. We've added a couple of defaults in. One is the query sender display name, and it controls what name the client sees on queries that are raised. And I've gone into the system default, I've written brand, and the reason why I've entered brand is that, say I might not want to expose who's raising the query. So anyone can raise the queries, and so it looks like it's coming from same source, and then I've been contacted by 5 different people. By saying brand, if I navigate back to the queries screen and select view, it'll actually say the brand name. So SuperMate Accounting is the brand on the fund. They're the ones raising the queries. It's not going to be, say, Andy raises a query, then Eugene raises a query, then Reese raises a query. It doesn't look like they've been contacted by multiple people. I've seen where this is used is, say, if there's a client manager that looks after the relationship, but then the fund accountant is a different person and they want to raise queries directly. They want to raise queries directly to the client, not have to worry about the CSM reviewing all the queries, just make the process a lot more streamlined. They can just raise queries, send them off. The brand is SuperMate Accounting. And the point of contact remains with the CSM. So by not going, okay, fund accountant, Reese Hopper's raising all these queries, the client's not ringing up saying, hey, I want to speak to Reese about my fund. The brand is there. They ring up. I want to talk to my client manager. Another system default we put in is the query from client owner, which I'll jump into the query screen because it's probably easy to jump into the query screen and explain it, but I've set the default to customer service manager. And so when queries do come in from the client, the query owner is set as the customer service manager. So you can see here, I've raised a couple of queries to the client. I am the owner of the query. When the client responds through client view, I will get the notification to say, hey, you've got a response to a query that you're the owner of. And that way, the accountant can raise queries, get responses, continue the fund through the process. Then when a client asks a query, it goes to the title that you put into that system default. I've used customer service manager. Andy's going to get a notification. So, hey, you've got a query from the client. Then he can look at the query. If the accountant should be answering it, it can get passed off to the accountant to reallocate. So you can actually change the owner, and then once again, the account. If you change it to the accountant can see I have a query to look at, respond. And then you have the system default that says, hey, this is the brand. The client's not aware of. It's actually the accountant responding. Relationship stays with the customer service manager. If you don't have any items, if you don't put anything into those system defaults, obviously whoever raises the query and then selects send on the query will have their name as the query owner, and that will flow through to client view. So if you do want to have a system where, okay, it's, Reese is the one that actually sent the query, therefore Reese's name will be on that query. You can do that. And if you don't have a system default for who the query code comes to when it's raised from the client, all that happen is that there won't be any query owner, and people just have to navigate to this tab to go, okay, well, there's a bunch of queries here. They have no owner. Let's figure out. Let's pick it up. If I was using this using this screen, I would go all my funds, select search. What this filter does is it'll pick up all the funds where I am either the customer service manager, the accountant, the owner, the quality consultant, etc. for, and then I could look at it and go, okay, well, the funds that belong to me. There are no queries where there are no owners, so there's nothing there for me to really look into, nothing for me to action. All right, I'm going to navigate back to client view, back on the query screen for client view. The last screen where we've made some changes to is the generate reports section. I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of client view is that clients can jump in, they can run their own reports. You know, if they need a Centrelink detail report, a Centrelink report, they can come in, they can generate themselves. If they want to look at the tax rec, if they want to look at the profit and loss for certain properties, they can just run it themselves. Favorite the report, so they sit at the top, run whatever report they can do. One of the major changes we did with this screen is we've added all the reports you can generate in SuperMate can be generated in client view. At previously, there were certain reports that we didn't allow to be generated in client view, and the whole purpose of that was we thought it didn't make sense, right? So the Centrelink report is probably a really good example where we thought, you know, should clients really be generating this themselves, or should they be raising a question to the administrators? They have, I need to give some information to Centrelink. I want to make sure it's, can you provide the report? And then the accountant can make sure that the information is correct, then generate themselves, pass it on. Where we've got feedback to say, actually, we keep our funds up to date from an administration perspective. They can run their own Centrelink reports because we're confident that the information is correct. So we decide we won't be the gatekeepers of what reports exist to be generated. So we've put all the reports in the screen, and then we've also put a feature in where you can customize this list. So we've got a screen in SuperMate where if you don't want the Centrelink report to be able to get generated from the clients, or you don't think it makes sense that clients can generate a bank reconciliation report or some of these more accounting style reports. So if you don't want them to generate a business activity statement or an operating statement, any of these reports that probably don't make sense from an accounting perspective to provide, you can actually hide these reports on this screen. And that's customizable on any site. So you just go into the screen and untick it from the menu option, then it won't show in this screen from clients. And you can also customize it based on advisors or trustees, so that for trustees, you might want to say, okay, I really only want to limit the type of reports that they generate, investment style reports where you have holdings returns or portfolio performance, portfolio overview. Whereas your advisor, you might think, oh, well, with an advisor, they have a better understanding of tax and accounting. So maybe I want to include some, investment strategy reports or market movement reports, those investment tax type reports. So based on the persona, you can actually control what the client sees when they log in. The last two menu items, we haven't made any changes. Documents, obviously, you can still jump in. They can look at documents that are saved in SuperMate, which are also flagged as visible in client view. And what I mean by that is navigate it back to SuperMate. If I jump into the document section and I view the document and select edit, if I say, yes, this is visible in client view to the member, to the advisor, if that's ticked in that document screen in client view, they will be able to see they'll be able to see that document, be able to download it themselves. And also resources. This screen is where you can upload forms or fact sheets to your brand, and then clients can come, they can download application forms, fill them out, provide them to you, or you can put in your some like information, fact sheets. You can see I haven't updated this for a while. It's got May 2024 newsletter. So you can come in here, you can upload newsletters, take them down. 3 million Div 296 update. Just information where clients can self-serve on resources. Probably the difference with this screen is it was called forms. Now we call it resources. Okay, that is basically all the changes that we have released in June. Probably wondering what's next. And what's next for Client View is that we are right now expanding the advisor level functionality. So we're working on more tools and more visibility for advisors where they can do, if they have 10 clients with you, they can see more site level data related to the funds that they are the advisors of, enables them to dig deeper into the information. And we are also working on a dedicated auditor access. So that poll question that Eugene asked earlier was a bit of a loaded poll question. We're just gauging the interest that people would have for auditors. But also when I was at the SMSF conference, I did have quite a lot of auditors coming up saying, hey, I want to be able to gain access to SuperMate. And as Eugene mentioned before, we do have the ability to give auditors access to SuperMate currently. But what we're doing is we're working on a more dedicated space and a more tailored experience for them, where there'll be screens that are more tailored to what an auditor would want to see, and the ways that they can interact with the accountant. But I don't want to spoil it too much by going into too much details on it. I'll save that for one of the upcoming webinars. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the updates on Client View. I will pass it back to Eugene.
Thank you, Reese. That was brilliant. And as always, so much new stuff coming out. Really exciting future things coming out as well. So very exciting to see what comes next. Cool. So just a reminder that if you're using SuperMate, we have a fantastic help portal that's available. So there's probably your first port of call if you have any kind of questions, and you can reach that by clicking on the question mark little option at the top and help portal, and that'll open up the help portal screen. Now, just talking about SuperMate as we have, if you're not already using the new SuperMate, the web version of it, you can see that it's a really fantastic, extensive platform that'll automate so much of the work that you are currently doing. And we have 2 levels of pricing. So our base tier is $132 per year, excluding GST, and you get all of these great features, including some of these funds like the Macquarie Cash, contract notes, bank feeds, broker feeds, wrap feeds, etc. And then, as I mentioned, that we do have for an additional $4.95 per month per fund, you get access to the full list of over 200 of those funds. So if you have any questions about that, either if you're a client, just reach out to support, or you'll have my contact details at the end of this webinar that we can have a chat about getting you onto this platform. We also do have our on-demand learning and CPD points for accreditation. If you subscribe to SuperMate, you actually become part of the sort of Super Concepts family, and as such, you have access to our education services, which are provided by our legendary Craig Stone, who has been quietly sitting in the background watching as things go on. Again, just a reminder, if you do have any questions, anything related to either SuperMate, SMSF, or tax, Div296, or for example, please drop them into the Q&A or the comment section. Craig is available to answer those. If you have anything else, feel free to drop me an email. My number is on, my email address is on screen at the moment. It's Eugene Skiepers at superconcepts.com.au, and jot down my number 0434 214 280, and I'll be happy to either answer your questions or get the right person to do so for you. So that pretty much brings us to the end of today. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope you'll join us for our next one, which we'll be announcing pretty soon, and the contents of which as well. Thank you to Reese and Craig sitting in the background. Appreciate your time, and have a good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Eugene.
Thanks. Bye-bye.